Hello, everyone, and welcome to this presentation. My name is Scott Dockum, and today I'm going to be talking to you about understanding the importance of commercialization and business planning, a NASA perspective. Ideation, point solution, and market stimulation. What does that all mean, particularly when you're applying to NASA? Under the SBIR and STTR rules or the law, the requires us to consider commercial potential in making selections for SBIR and STTR awards. NASA does this in three ways. We have ideation, and this is to encourage the formation of ideas or concepts that can meet NASA mission needs. We have point solution, solving one particular NASA problem. Point solutions are widely used to fix a problem or implement a new innovation quickly, and we also call this infusion. We also have market stimulation, creating a demand for the innovation both in NASA and outside of NASA. You'll often hear these called dual use technologies. During the solicitation development process, as we're developing our subtopics, we ask our subtopic authors to identify how they envision the subtopics meeting one or more of the categories above. The goal is to ensure that innovations that are submitted to the program have the ability to address different markets while also meeting NASA missions. So this overall meets the requirements for the SBIR and STTR program. Why commercialization and business planning is important. Small businesses that apply the program need to understand and develop their commercialization and business plan early. We actually recommend that you start thinking about this as soon as possible, even at phase one. And some of the questions that you're going to need to ask yourself are, can my business be successful and sustainable if my innovation becomes part of NASA's industry or NASA's technology supply chain? Or even if the innovation leads to a mission or program infusion? Will I need to consider moving the innovation beyond NASA to achieve sustainability of the technology and also of my business? Should I identify other non-NASA markets, such as other federal agencies, other commercial markets, etc.? These are all very important questions that you as a business owner and you developing the technology need to consider. NASA's SBIR and STTR program provides several commercialization opportunities as well. We have post-phase two funding within our program, and these provide additional funding to support additional research and development for the innovation and scale up to be ready for potential opportunities such as infusion. We also have phase three opportunities within the program as well, and these typically infuse the technology immediately into programs and missions here at NASA. So, understanding these things are critical as small businesses start planning at the early stages to determine their ability to commercialize and capitalize on the SBIR investment that NASA is making at both phase one and phase two. How does NASA evaluate commercialization and business planning at phase one? So, at phase one, um, at, we basically select proposals based on the most advantageous research and development path that addresses the subtopics that are found in the solicitation. NASA looks for proposals that have the best scientific and technical merit and show strong promise to prove feasibility. NASA also looks to see how the proposals provide a benefit to NASA's interest, including both NASA and non-NASA markets. So there is a commercialization aspect to a phase one, although we recognize that the technical merit and the actual pulling together that science that you need to do, the proof feasibility or that proof of concept, is very important at phase one, but there is some commercial aspects that we do look at. Each proposal is evaluated and scored on its own merits using these factors. And you'll see there we've got obviously the scientific and technical merit and feasibility. We also have experience and qualifications and facilities and the effectiveness of the proposed work plan. Those are all very key elements of the proposal. We also asked for commercial potential and feasibility at phase one. So we are looking at that and we want to understand, what are your thoughts? How you plan to move this forward, particularly if you get a phase two in the future. And then also we look at price reasonableness under the proposal as well. One of the things to consider here is that new for 2021, NASA is implementing what's called a Technical and Business Assistance Program, also known as TABA. And at phase one, NASA is encouraging awardees to use TABA funding to develop a commercialization and business plan, which will be required with a submission of a phase two proposal. There is funding available for you to hire a vendor to actually go out and help you develop this commercialization and business plan. And this is what we are encouraging our phase one firms to do if they receive an award. I would encourage you to go over and take a look at the other presentation that is found in this same section here. It's titled Overview of NASA's Technical and Business, or TABA, program. And it'll give you some really good information on how you can use those funds to help develop your commercial and business planning at phase one. How does NASA evaluate commercialization and business planning at phase two? So you've completed your phase one, you're now ready to submit a phase two. And one of the things that you need to understand is that we have a requirement that you submit a commercialization and business plan at phase two. So phase two proposals are reviewed by a committee of outside consultants familiar with NASA technologies and external commercial markets. As they review your commercialization and business plan, which again is required as part of the proposal, they're going to be doing this with the understanding that they have a good background on NASA technologies and commercial markets. When they review these things, what they're going to be doing is they're going to provide NASA with an assessment of the ability of the proposing company or your firm to commercialize their technology outside of NASA and to become a sustainable provider to NASA. So you need to have this really figured out and provide this information since we are looking at it in the proposal. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to provide the company with an assessment of their plan by giving advice for improvements and how to recognize additional potential for commercialization opportunities. The commercial reviewers review all parts found in part 7 of the phase 2 proposal, and that is what is the actual commercialization and business plan for a phase 2 submission. What are some of the things we're looking at here? We really want to understand the ability of the company to commercialize the technology based on, do they have a good understanding of both the internal and external marketplace? Have you done any market segmentation? Do you clearly understand market size, the target customers? Have you looked at the competitive landscape? Do you really understand the barriers to entry for this innovation or technology that you're developing under a NASA SBIR? Ability to demonstrate a viable plan to address and penetrate the market. So, do you have good pro forma revenues? Have you identified possible risks and discussed mitigations? And then ability to carry out a commercialization plan. Do you have the right staffing or capitalization to do this? Do you have any capital commitment from outside sources? So, are there actually people out there, or firms or organizations, who are actually ready to step in when your phase two is completed and provide additional funding to continue to see the innovation move forward? Have you looked at intellectual property protection? This is a big deal, particularly when you're developing something that is brand new and currently not part of the current state of the art. You want to make sure that you're protecting yourself so that you've got some ability to move that forward without other people taking that intellectual property from you. Are you looking to obtain mentoring and or assistance to help you move forward and make sure that you're able to carry out the commercialization plan? And then also looking at cash flow and balance sheets. Are you sustainable? Are you able to continue to move your business into uh, into the realm of being able to move forward and be sustainable? A high commercial score under all of these factors means that a company has identified and understands the addressable market. The company has provided a viable plan to address the market, and the company has a capitalization plan and potential to carry out that plan. In this listation, we actually provide information on how we conduct these reviews, and you can find that information there under section 4 of this listation. Couple of things that we get questions on quite often are these letters of capital commitment. I thought we would spend just a little bit of time describing how this works. There's two types of letters that we will often see within a proposal. You have a general letter of support, and then you have letters of capital commitment. Let's start with the general letters of support first. Typically, these are letters that come from outside parties who just have an interest in the technology. However, they're not actually going to provide funding and or financial resources to continue to see the research and or see the innovation move forward. Letters of support typically come from folks who say, I really like this technology. I think it's really cool. Or you'll also see letters of support coming in from like congressional members and um, other types of organizations. Those are things that we're not interested in at this stage, particularly for commercialization and business planning. And if those are submitted, we typically won't review them. We actually discourage those. We don't need to see those. What we do want to see, however, is letters of capital commitment. Letters of capital commitment and or funding support are considered as part of the evaluation process. And these letters should specify the level of funding commitments, other sources to be provided, and any funding contingencies or conditions that come into play for that resource. In addition, we want to know what is the timing of the funding being made available to the small business. So these are really good things to have and can really strengthen your commercialization and business planning. Letters of commitment must be signed by a duly authorized representative of the outside funding source, as well as a small business with the authority to obligate the funding. When those two things show up, it really strengthens the proposal and it clearly indicates that there is a market for this technology. And that's exactly what we're looking for as we move things through the program. Okay, just to shift gears a little bit here, some of the other things that you need to be thinking about as you're thinking about commercialization and business planning is what are these other opportunities? So you get to the end of your phase two, there's additional opportunities for additional funding to continue the research and continue to focus in on that commercialization aspect. So if you need additional funding, a little bit more time, these are some opportunities you want to consider. So as part of that, developing that plan, uh, you really need to be thinking about these opportunities early on, even at phase one. And that's where I mentioned earlier that TABA could actually help you start thinking about how you might approach trying to get these additional funds through these additional programs. The NASA SBIR program and STTR program has three initiatives for supporting its small business partners beyond the basic Phase 2 award. We have what's called the Phase 2 Extended or Phase 2E. Essentially, this is a contract option. We also have Phase 2 Sequentials, and we also have what's called the Civilian Commercialization Readiness Pilot Program or CCRPP. You can find out more information on each of these programs for eligibility, application deadlines, matching requirements, and a whole host of other information by visiting the website that's posted here. Another thing that you can also do is consider applying for ICOR, our NASA ICOR program. This is an excellent opportunity when you are applying at phase one. And this will provide you with a lot of information on how to develop that commercialization and business plan that is required for your phase two submission. The NASA SBIR STTR program has partnered with the National Science Foundation or NSF to offer this ICOR program. And essentially what ICOR was founded on was focusing on educating teams of individuals on how to translate a technology from very early stage innovation or maybe even from the laboratory and getting it into the marketplace. And they do this through a customer discovery process. So as it says here, it's all about customer discovery and validating your business proposition. Having those key elements understood is really, really crucial to understanding how to move your technology forward and commercialize it. Participation in ICOR requires selected companies to conduct in-person interviews with potential customers and buyers, and then you report back to NSF on these meetings that you're having. They provide you input, and it just continues to help you grow and understand how to move forward under this program. What you'll also be doing is selected companies are required to take ICOR based training during the duration of the program. So under your phase one, it's 6 month period of performance. And what will happen is you'll be given a training grant to actually go through the training with NSF, conduct your customer discovery, and then when you're finished, you'll report out how things went and whether or not you were able to identify your market and your business proposition. At the end of the phase one contract, all that work would have to be completed. And that's really simple. We have a lot of our firms that go through this program and do very well. The program is described further here at this website. And if you go there, you can understand how we move through the process of you requesting for ICOR. And we also provide this information in our solicitation. So with that, that is all I have for today. Thanks for watching this presentation. If you have additional questions, please reach out to the IOC staff. They should have the ability to capture an email from you, and or you can also contact the NASA SBIR help desk. So with that, I wish you a good day and thank you for participating in this presentation.